This is a review of Gintama Chapter 577, Crybaby. My name is Colton, and I am the one reviewing this thing, like always, just in case you haven't listened or watched any of my other reviews. There's another chapter this week. Gotta get up early in the morning for work, but I figured might as well knock out the recording for this and maybe just release it the next day or something. Anyway, if you are listening to this on the podcast feed, you can go find this review and all of my other past reviews on youtube.com/Gintamangacast. That's GINTAMANGACAST, Gintamangacast. If you are watching this on YouTube, please go to gintalifelessons.wordpress.com. I am normally the host of Life Lessons, the Gintama Manga Cast, which is essentially kind of a retrospective / companion piece that I am producing for the past Viz release of the Gintama manga that unfortunately was canceled back in 2011. But hey, why the hell not? I figured I wanted the podcast about Gintama. There's kind of already a few guys out there who do that, but I figured, hey, my show's different enough, so I did it. But anyway, yes. So either way, wherever you're listening to this, go to where I recommend going to those websites. I hear they're pretty cool. I might be kind of biased, but whatever. But either way, if you are listening to this on the podcast feed or watching this on YouTube, please do not listen to this review if you have not read Chapter 577 or are just not caught up on the manga in general, because there will be spoilers. So that's your warning ahead of time. So, on to Chapter 577, Crybaby. This was a good one. That's kind of it in a nutshell. There's not really much I want to discuss. The cover page for this chapter breaks my heart, seriously. Why does Sorachi have to do this shit? Fucking Umibozu and baby Kagura and baby Kamui all hanging out together in the rain. It hurts. It feels like a what could have been kind of dealio there, or maybe that, I don't know if like that's an actual indication of like a real moment from the past, or if like that's just Sorachi making us feel things through his cover pages. I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's just a nice, heartbreaking cover page. So obviously we get Kagura interviewing with Umibozu and Kamui's fight this chapter. Kagura is trying to convince the both of them to, stop all the fighting and so they can get along as family, which Umibozu seems just all for, but obviously Kamui is just not having it. He just wants to fucking kill his dad. He's kind of angsty, kind of, which usually I would be very turned off by with most characters, but I feel like Sorachi's been handling this. I feel like he's been handling Kamui's character somewhat well. I mean, then again, he really hasn't had much screen time up until the Shogun assassination arc, so there wasn't really too many opportunities to really deal with his character, but I digress. I still feel like it's being handled very well. Again, like I said, I believe I said this in the last review for Chapter 576, I believe, that I feel like I'm kind of like, I feel like I should have thought about a lot of this. Like, I feel like some of this should have crossed my mind earlier about Kamui, about how he essentially was probably a mistake, because I think I might have wrote about this on the Gintama subreddit, but again, what was it, like a few weeks ago now, I just got done covering the Umibozu arc, actually, in the manga, in terms of life lessons. Umibozu and Kagura do mention how basically Umibozu and Kagura's mom kind of married each other out of wedlock. Things kind of moved a little fast, if you know what I'm saying. they had sex before marriage. That's I'm not sure if you guys got that. That was my attempt to be subtle about it. Anyway, and so it would make sense that I don't know, Kamui probably feels some kind of stigma because of that. You know, he kind of probably has that feeling of, oh, they didn't want me in the first place. I was kind of an accident. Actually, I think accident might be a better word, because mistake implies, oh, well, we didn't really want to have you, and now we want to get rid of you. Which I'm sure Umibozu and Kagura's mother never really felt that way. I'm sure they loved Kamui. I'm sure Umibozu still loves Conway even now, because I feel like his whole I'm the only one who could kill my son kind of thing, I feel like that's a front. I'm sure, you know, he still loves Conway, he still loves his son, and he's gonna still protect him, you know, he's still his father, first and foremost, I think. But anyway, I think I predicted last chapter that we were going to get more Yato flashbacks through Kamui's perspective, which we got like a few tiny flashbacks. Wasn't anything big, you know, no like full page flashbacks or anything, but we got a few glimpses of the past. But I think more so through Kagura and Umibozu's perspective, which I think is good. Like, I feel like we're seeing Kamui through their eyes, because Kagura goes on about how Kamui hasn't really changed since since they were children, essentially, and how he hasn't really gotten any stronger. He's just, you know, putting up this front of being a tough guy and being a cold, heartless murderer, which, I mean, he kind of still is, but how it's basically still kind of a front. It's his way of like cloaking his real emotions, I think, is what Kagura was trying to say, which makes sense. You know, he obviously, you know, I'm sure he loved his mother, and I'm sure he cares about his father deep down, but you know, it's kind of hard to say what's really up, but at the same time, I think I can kind of see what we're going for here. You know, Kamui is, as much as I hate to say it, I feel like the best and worst way to put it is Kamui is just misunderstood. Kamui is just a misunderstood murderer. I mean, psychologically speaking, I think it makes sense, because Kamui's had a tough life, and I can see why he turned into the kind of man that he is. I'm not saying like it justifies his previous actions of murder, but it makes sense why he is the way he is, and it's really kind of sad, especially when you get that one panel of Kamui looking up at the sky and shedding a tear. It's just, it really is kind of heartbreaking. And I also really like the what was it? The few panels of Umibozu muttering to himself, stop, as in like, you know, stop the fight and all that stuff between Kagura and Kamui. And he, like, as he's trying to, like, you know, raise his voice, you know, to tell Kagura and Kamui to stop it, he thinks back to, like, he first thinks back to when he left Kamui for the first time, and then he thinks back to all the times he left Kagura, you know, assuming around the time Kamui left the family. And, you know, we get that panel of Umibozu telling, like, actually yelling at them to stop their fight, and it's, you know, Umibozu doesn't cry. It's not entirely that sad, but it's still really, like, you can tell he's in pain. Like, you can tell that, you know, even with how much he's changed since his first debut in the manga, you know, he still feels responsible for pretty much all of the turmoil that his offspring have gone through. And you could tell that you could tell he feels so bad about everything that's happened. And I feel like at the end of the day, he wants just as much as Kagura to get his family back together. I think Kagura and Umibozu are pretty much on the same wavelengths there. I think we can safely assume. And then, fucking Utsuro jumps in and looks like he's gonna fight Umibozu. Also, Umibozu lost an arm again. What is that, like the third or fourth time he's lost his arm? Him and Obito both just can't keep their arms. They literally are just not allowed to keep their limbs. It's kind of funny. But yeah, Utsuro is joining the fray, and Gintoki and Shinpachi are on their way with Sadaharu, and Kamui and Kagura are now kind of falling together and are probably going to be stuck together. So hopefully this will give them a chance to kind of sort of make up, or really more so just decide, hey, we gotta go save our father and work together and stuff. Because I feel like we're not really going to get a conclusion to the Kagura and Kamui fight, because I don't really feel like that's the point. I feel like I don't know, I feel like it would make sense for them both to kind of solve their differences through speech, but at the same time, like, I feel like they're gonna, like, set a precedent for other Yato, and they're gonna, like, you know, again, end up, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, guys, it's late. They're gonna find another way to, I guess, sort out their differences instead of fighting, which would be kind of interesting, seeing as how they're Yato, and the whole thing with Yato are that, they, you know, it's like we saw last chapter, they showed their emotions through battle, but I feel like Sorachi's gonna turn that tradition on its head with Kagura and Kamui, maybe. I don't know if anything really, like, I'm not sure if we'll get too much out of, I don't know, like, I'm just kind of thinking to myself at this point. Let's see. So I think that's really about it for the chapter. I mean, like, I think I was also going to say, when Utsuro first made his appearance and started coming down the cliffside, that was the part where I was on the edge of my seat. Like, I mean, the Kagura and Kamui fight obviously was very exciting and some very powerful stuff, but holy shit, Utsuro is finally making his move, and we're finally gonna, we're basically gonna see Kagura's dad fight Gintoki's dad, kind of, sort of. So that's gonna be fun. We're gonna finally see which dad is the best dad. So, man, I guess let's just get to my predictions for next chapter. I feel like, I mean, this isn't the first time, or I'm not the first person to come up with this theory, but I feel like I'm in agreement. I feel like I'm in an agreement with everyone else that that Umibozu is probably going to die this arc. Like, I don't know, somebody's gonna die. Like, what was it? You know, first it was Shige, then it was Sasaki, and now, like, I feel like we're going to get at least 2 deaths, because I feel like, like I said, I agree with everyone else that Umibozu is probably most likely going to die. I feel like Abuto could die, maybe, possibly, or maybe Kamui. Like, not like, we can't have too many character deaths, otherwise that's just kind of overdoing it, and then it's just going to get to the point where, like, Gintama is just going to become Game of Thrones, where all your favorite characters are just going to die. Just a side note, I don't really watch Game of Thrones. I'm just saying that because it seems like the one thing about Game of Thrones that everybody talks about. I'm just making an assumption there. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like someone's going to die. If, like, it's going to be Umibozu and probably somebody else. And like I said, I feel like Kagura and Kamui are going to end up, like, working together and not actually finish their fight, which I'd be fine with. As cool as their fight was, I wouldn't really, like, set my house on fire if we never got to, like, see a clear winner to that fight, because, again, I don't feel like that's the point of this battle. And I really just want Abuto to do something. Like, I don't know, like, I've always liked Obito's character, and it's a shame that we don't get to see him around, more often. And I feel like he really hasn't had a real moment to shine since Yoshiwara with his fight against Kagura. I mean, he's been around, but I would really like him to see him at least assist Umibozu. He's probably not gonna, like, get any kind of real shining moment, but I just want to see him help. Maybe give him as much screen time as we've gotten with Bonsai. Maybe that would be kind of nice. I just want to see something come out of Obito. That would just be nice, really. But yeah, good chapter this week. I really enjoyed it. It was really exciting. I cannot wait for next week's chapter, because I can tell something big is going to happen. Either next chapter or the chapter afterwards. Something's gonna go down, man. Like, something big is going to happen, and it's gonna be coming soon. So, thank you everybody for listening to my review of chapter 577. If you want to listen to more stuff like this, you can go to youtube.com/GintaMangaCast. That's GintaMangacast, GintaMangaCast. If you are interested in, maybe you don't like using YouTube, I don't know, and you want to listen to the normal life lessons, Gintama MangaCast, you can go to gintalifelessons.wordpress.com. That's where I not only have all of my chapter reviews, but also all of my normal podcasts as well. We got to get to recording something again soon for this month of March. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my review, and I hope you have a good whatever time you're listening to this, and I'll see you next week for chapter 578.